Hello and welcome to this midweek podcast episode of the Mum Boss Method podcast. I'm Chrissy and I'm going to talk to you today about how, as a small woman, there are some things you might want to consider when you're trying to lose weight. Now, a small woman, well, the average height for a woman in the UK is 5'3". Well, it is in accordance to the research that I did anyway. Now, even if you are 5'4" or 5'5", I still recommend that you listen to this podcast because at the end of the day, women need less calories than men. And so it's really useful to understand the nuances here. But also, the principles I'm going to talk to you about, there's no secret or trick when it comes to being a small woman and losing weight. There are just some things that really make a difference. Everything I'm going to talk to you about today is important for weight loss. Okay, it's not only relevant if you're a small woman. So even if you are not vertically challenged like myself, I recommend that you listen to it. Now, before I dig in to this topic, just moving my microphone, sorry about that. I need to share with you that for some unknown reason, I think it was probably by accident, but I set my alarm for 5 a.m. this morning. And I have an incredibly busy day. So I'm recording this on Wednesday. I have an incredibly busy day. I'm working this evening from 6:30 until 9:30. And I had said to myself before I went to bed, wouldn't it be lovely if I slept through until Tom's alarm goes off at 6:30? Because I very rarely set an alarm. I only set an alarm on the days I need to get up for things. Otherwise, I tend to just wake up naturally. And you know how important sleep is to me and how sometimes it really causes me problems. Anyway, somehow I managed, because I used my Apple Watch as my alarm, somehow I managed to set my alarm for 5 a.m. this morning. And I swear to you, when it went off, I was in such a deep sleep, such a good deep sleep, that I could have kicked myself, because I reckon I was in for waking up at 6 or 6:30 this morning. So I'm telling you this because I'm feeling a little bit jaded, probably isn't the right word, just a bit tired. I'm feeling that 5 a.m. wake up. I'm now looking for some lens wipes for my glasses because I've realised I've put stuff all over my glasses. I have been running boot camps all morning. It's really cold outside today, and I'm just feeling a little bit tired. So my plan is record this podcast episode, get Henry out for a walk, and then take a couple of hours to just chill. But I wanted to get this done first because I think this is important. So, as I said, all of this information is relevant to you whether you are a small woman or not. But if you are a small woman, 5'3" or under, this information is really important. These are the things that you really need to focus on when it comes to losing weight. And I know this because as a small woman myself who in the past struggled to lose weight, I had to learn the hard way, because for a long time I didn't have a coach like me who could help me. So today I want to share with you the tips that I use with my smaller clients to help them lose weight. They're also the things that I focus on myself, whether I'm losing weight or just as a principle anyway, because generally I can eat less calories than someone who is a couple of inches taller than me. And these are the things that are really important for us small women to consider, and they can really help turn the needle if you've been struggling. So the first thing I want you to consider is that there is a certain level of acceptance that needs to happen here. As a smaller woman, there is less of us, and therefore we need less calories on a daily basis. There is nothing you can do about that. So comparing your calorie intake to another taller woman's calorie intake is pointless. Thinking that it isn't fair or being jealous is a complete waste of energy. It's just scientific law, the way things are. So rather than wish it was different, which is an impossibility, although I am going to give you some tips today that will allow you to eat more if you implement them. But instead of wishing it was different, it's recognise and accept this is completely out of your control, and instead choose to work with what you've got and take actions on the things that you can control. And the mindset, think about this, the mindset of it's not fair isn't serving you, so let it go. Okay? Now, that being said, as a small woman, so I'm telling you to let all of that go because it's not fair and it just is the way it is. But I also want to recognise that as small women, we live in a world that is not built specifically to tailor to our size and to help us lose weight. So you can't go into a restaurant and say, oh, I'm 5'2", please can I have a portion for a woman that is 5'2". Okay, snacks and meals are the same size, unless you choose the kids' meals, wherever you go. So if you go out to a restaurant for a main meal, that could be most of your calories for the day. And that's before you've even had a drink or a dessert or a starter. Okay? So accept that this is the case. Understand that it might not seem fair, but it is the way it is. And also understand that we live in a world that is quite an obesogenic world. If you think about it, we can get everything delivered to us. We don't need to leave the house. We don't even need to go to the cinema because we can download and stream everything. We don't have to walk anywhere if we don't want to, presuming that we can drive or get public transport. And portion sizes, highly palatable, highly calorific food is all really easy to obtain and does not factor in that you might be a small woman. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, the other thing that I want to say is, despite what you might see on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and what influencers share about what they eat and their own approach to flexible dieting, it doesn't matter if they're smaller women or not. Take everything you see with a pinch of salt. Okay, so a couple of things I just want to pick out there. Flexible dieting is the term that has been really, really fashionable in the last few years, 5, 6, maybe 10 years. Okay, and what that means is, as long as you are eating in a calorie deficit, you can eat what you want and you will lose fat. And that is, that's true. That is true. You only have to search YouTube for people that have lived on McDonald's for a month. They've stayed in a calorie deficit and they've lost weight eating just McDonald's, right? I've said this on podcasts before, that flexible dieting as an approach is great because it means we can incorporate the foods we love, but we also need to incorporate for health, the health-giving foods as well, okay? And in my mind, flexible dieting has been taken somewhat too far by some influencers and some people that you see on social media. And that's why I'm telling you to take what they share with a pinch of salt. Because firstly, people on the internet lie. And secondly, just because that's what they're sharing, and that they do flexible dieting, sometimes flexible dieting is too flexible for some people. Some people need a bit more structure and rigidity. Okay, so these people on social media might share with you that on a certain day they ate 3,000 calories, or that one of their meals alone was 1,500 calories. And they may or may not be a small woman. But the thing is, you don't see anything else about their lives. You don't see what else they've eaten on that day or on that week. You don't see how active they are, how many steps they do a day. You don't know like I've already said, that it's even true that that meal contained 1,500 calories, or that they even ate it all. Because like I said, people lie. I tell my son this all the time: just because it's on TikTok, it doesn't mean it's true. So be really wary of influencer accounts that tell you that you can eat this and you can eat that to lose weight, because you don't know the context of the rest of their lives or how their eating might apply to you. And that's why I am really wary about doing what I eat in a day. In fact, I don't do what I eat in a day videos. I very rarely show too much of my food on social media, because firstly, people then take that as gospel. Not that I'm an influencer, but also people, you know, I've had clients say to me before, I can't believe you eat that, or, you know, I'm not in a fat loss phase at the moment. I'm training for a half marathon, so actually I'm eating at maintenance. But I'm a really, really active person. So actually, for someone of 5'2.5", I probably can eat quite a lot compared to someone of the same height who is not as active as me and is in a fat loss phase. Yes, I definitely can eat more than them. But that's why I don't share a huge amount of what I'm eating in terms of the calories and the macros, and this is a whole day's worth of food, because it doesn't matter. It's applicable to my life and my life only. Okay, so that's kind of the mindset and the what's going on around you kind of thing. So I want you to remember that just because you're a small woman, it doesn't mean that you can't have the food you love, the food you really enjoy, like chocolate, crisps, wine, biscuits, whatever else it is that you love. You absolutely can. So you can apply flexible dieting to your life. You can apply that within your diet. But this leads us to my first really practical point, which is that food choice really matters as a small woman. Okay. Now, remember that in order to lose body fat, in order to lose weight, if that's the terminology you want to use, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And for a smaller woman, that calorie deficit will be smaller than someone who is, 4 or 5 inches taller than you. But let's say your calorie deficit is 1,500 calories a day. Now that 1,500 calories a day can be super satisfying, super satiating. It can be lots and lots of food in terms of volume if you pick the right foods within your diet. Or it could be 1,500 calories could be 3 Big Macs in a day. And you might be loving the thought of 3 Big Macs in a day because you like McDonald's, but tell me, across a whole day, would 3 Big Macs actually fill you up? And how good would you feel? So what we want is we want you to be going for food that is going to be highly nutritious, is going to be lower on the calorie scale and give you lots of volume. So what I mean is focusing on lean protein, lots of fresh ingredients, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, or frozen, and staying away as much as possible from processed foods, which tend to be higher in calories and lower in food volume. Again, if we think about, my breakfast, for example, or my lunch that I just had was a big fat tuna and salad cream sandwich. I had loads of salad on it. I even had salad on the side because I couldn't fit it all in. And I had, a small packet of crisps. And that came to about 550 calories. What's going to keep me more full, that or a Big Mac, which is about 550 calories, right? So we want to stick to the food that is higher in protein. It's got much fresher ingredients. There's lots of fruit and veggies in there, and is lower in calories and like a bigger portion. There is no doubt in my mind that the tuna sandwich I just made took me longer to eat than a Big Mac would have. It was more food on my plate than a Big Mac would have, and definitely more filling. So what it doesn't mean is that you need to eat diet food, okay? But what I mean by this is you don't have to eat diet food. You don't need to eat a boring tuna salad. You could turn that tuna salad into a tuna and feta salad that has tuna, some olives, some feta, cheese, loads of different salad leaves, cucumber, tomato, I've said olives, peppers, grated carrot. It can be roasted vegetables. It doesn't have to be diet food, as we probably all recognise diet food to be. So again, I'm going to use an example, and I'm going to stick with the sandwich example, right? So you could go to the supermarket for lunch and you could pick up a ready-made supermarket sandwich, crisps and a drink in a meal deal. And that could come to, say, 600 calories, 550, 600 calories. Now, you and I both know that these sandwiches barely have any filling in them because it all gets pushed to the middle of the sandwich where they're going to slice the sandwich in half so it looks really full up. But actually, when you get it out of the packet, a good couple of centimetres around the crust of that sandwich don't have any filling in them, right? So they make it look filler. You might you might well find yourself hungry again in a couple of hours. And that sandwich probably has loads of butter and mayonnaise in it. Nothing wrong with either, but they're quantities that you can't control. And it probably has a limited amount of veggies, maybe some, if we stick with the tuna sandwich that I just talked about, it might have some cucumber and some sweet corn. But you could make the same sandwich for yourself, just like I have, pack it full of more protein. So I used a whole tin of tuna, a bit less butter. I didn't need butter because I had salad cream. And you could even use, light mayo, light salad cream if you wanted to, and loads of veggies. So as I said, I had loads of salad in mine. I had sweet corn. I think I had some chopped up spring onion, cucumber, and then I even had some sticks of vegetables on the side. And I also had a small packet of crisps, right? And I've created myself a super satiating sandwich. It's going to keep me fuller for longer than the supermarket one, and I've still had crisps, and if I wanted to I could have had a fizzy drink with it as well. So what I want you to do is really focus on that protein, on the fruits and the veggies, and start volume eating to keep yourself fuller for longer. I don't want you to ban carbs. I've just had carbs. I've had a sandwich, but the protein and the veg should take up most of your plate, okay? And focus on getting 25 to 30 grams of protein in each meal to keep you full. So that's your food. The next thing as a small woman that you need to focus on is movement. Now, I'm not talking about your workouts. I'm not talking about how many times you need to go to the gym, how many times you need to go out for a run. I'm talking about generally being more active. Because this is where we have the most control over our calorie expenditure on any one day. So lots of you will be thinking, I need to get to the gym more, I need to work out more to lose weight. And if you've been listening to me for long enough, you'll know that's not correct. Actually, the part of your day where you have the most control over how many calories you burn is how generally active you are. Or to give it the correct term, your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or thermogenesis, however you want to say it. So this is your steps. You're moving about during the day, your walks. At the moment I'm recording this at my standing desk because I've been sitting down for a couple of hours. This is where the concept of getting 10k steps has come from, right? But what I want you to do is focus on getting at least 8,000 steps a day. And this is going to put you in the active bracket, meaning not only is that great for your health, but you're expending more energy, which as a small woman is super helpful because you don't have as many calories to play with. So if you don't currently get as many steps, it's time to start working out how you can get closer to 8 to 10k per day. Now think about it. Walking is free. It's the most accessible form of moving around that you can do. Pretty much, You can do it in all weather conditions. And this is where some of the mindset aspects come into play here, because some of my clients, and if you're listening, you know who you are, really don't like walking. But as I said at the beginning, as a small woman, there is less of you. So you need to control the controllables here. And if you want to lose weight, you're going to need to make some sacrifices. You're going to need to do some things that you don't like. So it's time to suck it up, buttercup. Okay? You can add a 10-minute treadmill walk on the end of your gym workout. You could take a walk after your lunch break, do walking meetings with your colleagues if that's appropriate. Add in a bit of a fake commute in the morning. Okay, that might mean getting up 15 minutes earlier. But if you work from home, you know, there's no reason why you can't do a 10-15 minute walk around the block before you sit at your desk. Just stick on a podcast, an audiobook, your favourite music, get outside and get going for a walk. Because like I said, apart from being good for your weight loss, it's good for your mental health. So get it done. Okay, my third tip here is about curating your environment. And I spoke to two of my clients about this earlier in the week. And it's a hugely valuable piece of or a hugely valuable tool in any weight loss and health journey, but particularly as a small woman, when a snacksident could end up being a quarter or even a third of your daily calories. So what I mean by this is making the lower calorie, nutrient dense food and snacks the easiest ones to get to. Put fruit on your desk so that it's readily available rather than the vending machine in the office. Be organised and prepared with your meals when and where you can, rather than relying it on winging it from a supermarket when you're out and about. Because if you remember what I've already said, the environment we live in is built for people who are bigger than us on average. So really think about how you can curate and create the environment that leads to you making as many choices in line with your goals as possible. So, you know, one of the things that I do is I make my breakfast the night before every night. I always have a Pink Lady apple in the fridge as a snack for after my lunch, because I love a really cold, crisp Pink Lady apple. And I even get, before it broke, I got my apple corer and slicer. I used to get that out in the morning. So it was just really easy to cut it up, because everyone knows that fruit tastes better when it's cut up. Now, one tip that one of my clients gave me, they told me that they do, and I now give it to my other clients, is that if you have a cupboard that is full of the kids' snacks and you often raid that cupboard, get your children their own snack box, let them label it, let them decorate it if that's not going to mess about with your head too much, and then put all of their snacks in their own snack box. And I would recommend a box per child, because that incentivizes you not to touch the snacks, because I bet your bottom dollar those children will know exactly what snacks they had in there, because they won't want their siblings taking them from them. And then also to other things to curate your environment. Get rid of the snacks that you've bought that you don't like. It's not a waste if you've already bought it. Give it away if you don't want to waste the actual food, or throw it in the bin. Don't treat yourself like a bin. And to summarise that point, really think about what you need to stop buying for a while. Not forever, just a while. What needs to go to the back of the cupboard, not the front? What do you need to have around you to make it easier to make the choices in line with your goals? And then my final tip for you as a smaller woman trying to lose weight is all about planning your food out where you can. And again, this isn't any different to what I've suggested that most women do that I work with or on this podcast. But again, as a smaller woman, you have less calories to play with. So plan them carefully. Use them carefully. Budget them carefully. okay, you can use up so many more calories than you want to if you just wing your food, because, you know, as I've already talked about, food choices are so important for you as a smaller woman. So it's really useful to pay attention to how you plan out your meals and your food rather than taking it by chance. And don't forget to plan in your indulgences too, because they're really important. If you just ban yourself from the things that you love, you're going to end up just, you know, hitting the button and going for it anyway. So plan in the indulgences is a way of making sure you can still have them in a well thought out meal or day, rather than putting them in and then hoping that they fit into your calories or realizing you've gone over later on. And then making sure that if you're going to the effort of planning that meal, make sure you take your time to enjoy all of your food mindfully, because that will increase your satisfaction of it and your adherence to your own plan that you've created. So think about how many times have you eaten a couple of slices of pizza, or you've walked past that leftover cake and like sliced bits off and then just eaten them walking around from one room to the other, and then you barely remember eating the pizza or the cake, so you go back for more. Now, an example, I regularly have my breakfast at my desk, and it's just part of my routine, but I enjoy my breakfast so much more when I'm sitting away from my desk and I'm eating it and I'm really focusing on what I'm eating. And I was thinking about this when I was eating my breakfast this morning, because I got to the end of my breakfast and I was like, oh, I could eat that all over again. I wasn't particularly hungry. It's just that I hadn't taken my time to really mindfully eat it because I was conscious of how busy I was today. So tomorrow's plan is to take some time away from my desk and eat my breakfast. And the same rule goes for things like biscuits or your snacks. You know, if I mindlessly eat my snacks in front of the TV, I barely notice I've had them, and I will more often eat more of them than I need to. So be really mindful with how you're consuming your food. So they're the most important things for you as a small woman if you are trying to lose weight. Remember, the foundation of any weight loss journey needs to be calories, but your food choice and upping your NEAT or general activity also comes into play in a really big way here. Now, if you're a small woman and you are trying to lose weight and you'd like some support from me to implement what I've told you and other, you know, healthy habits that are going to help you to get to the summer feeling amazing, losing weight, toning up, I can help you. So come and find me on social media or pop me an email. All the links are in the show notes. I hope you have an awesome day. I am definitely a bit more awake now from standing up and chatting to you lovely lot. So I'm going to get some sunshine before the rain arrives again, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.